There are two ways to view your responses to Google Forms. Notice at the top here we have a questions tab and responses. So we first need to click on responses, and you'll notice it tells us we have 75 responses to this form. We can look at our responses right here within the Google form, or we can click on this little spreadsheet icon and look at them in a Google Sheet. Let's first look at the option on how to view them within this form. You'll see we have three tabs: Summary, Question, and Individual. This first option, Summary, is going to give us a list of all the questions that we asked and all the responses. Basically just that, a summary. So you can see my first question automatically was collecting their email addresses because I'm using my domain account and required them to be logged in with their CCSD account. If I scroll down to the next section, it was the student's first name. So you can see it's just listing, and then I would click on the scroll bar here to see all 75 responses. Let's look at how it looks for a different type question. This question here was asking for their period that they're in, so I get a pie graph chart showing me how many were in each one of the different periods. The next question was asking them on a scale of 1 to 10, so you can see it just gives me an overall summary, and the graphs are a great visual for you to quickly get feedback on your data. So now let's look at the next option. If we click on the Question tab, this now gives me a drop-down arrow right here where I can left click and I can choose which one of these questions do I want to look at all the answers for. So I'm going to choose this last one. What are your personal thoughts on Coder Z? So when I click here, now you can see, I see this was a paragraph question, and I can see each one of the students' responses to this question and read them all right here in one spot. The final option is to look at their individual responses. So when I click on this tab, now I'm looking at how did this specific student answer all of the questions. You'll notice at the top here, it says 1 of 75. I can click on this, and maybe I just want to see the last student who entered. So I can click 75 there and hit enter. And now it's going to show me the 75th student that responded to this. I also can click on this drop-down arrow and see a list of all the email addresses, and I can choose the person that way as well. The final way to look at your responses is in a Google Sheet. So if I choose this Create Spreadsheet, it's going to ask me if I want to create a new spreadsheet. Notice it names it the exact same thing as your form title, but puts responses in parentheses behind it. Or I can select an existing spreadsheet and add it to a spreadsheet I already have done by finding it in my Google Drive. So I'm going to create a new spreadsheet. I choose Create, and it automatically is linking this form and all the data to this spreadsheet. So now you can see I have a Google Sheet. Each one of my questions is in its own column. As people continue to answer my survey, their responses will show up at the bottom of this Google Sheet.